More land titles are about to evaporate here in BC, especially if you live in Kamloops. Take a listen to what the First Nations chief of Kamloops just had to say. Watch this.
Long overdue clarity for our people, our lands, our laws, but also the authority to make decisions. So when our rights and title are formally recognized, it also means that activities on our lands cannot proceed without our consent. A major benefit to our people is the move toward a 50% revenue sharing model. So in short, the SSM title case, it is about restoring rightful authority.
The legacy media is doing everything possible to hide stories like this because the temperatures are so elevated here, especially in British Columbia. Why? Because these provincial and national policies have done the exact opposite of reconciliation. These reconciliation policies have actually fractured the relationship between the First Nations and the general population. Why? Because people are terrified that they're about to lose the title to their home. People are worried that they've put their life savings into a property and they're about to lose 50% of their property value because of titles being overturned. Watch this.
Do you have a mortgage on your property here in Richmond?
I do.
Have you spoken to your lender?
I have.
And what have they told you?
They are not renewing it.
Wow.
If this doesn't change, and it doesn't change quickly, you can only expect the economic collapse of British Columbia. Now, how did we get in this situation? 3 steps led to this. First was Section 35 of the Constitution. But Section 35 of the Constitution has been there for years, and it's never been used to overturn a land title. Now, what happened in 2019? 2 big changes. First, the British Columbia government essentially adopted UNDRIP, which is the United Nations suggested version of reconciliation policies. And it gave more rights to First Nations people to have land title claims, especially in BC, where I'm going to put on the screen here. You'll see a map where you'll have Alberta on one side and BC on the other. What you're going to see is that in Alberta, the majority of Alberta is protected through First Nations treaties, which were done through the Crown and the First Nations. In BC, more than 95% of the land is unceded. Now, because UNDRIP came in 2019, those unceded territories, there's actually a case for the First Nations to fight for those lands and those titles. Now, here's the big issue. In 2019, DRIPA passes. So DRIPA passes in the provincial government, and now what that means is the courts are forced, when there's a land titles claim that's made in court, they are forced to use the lens of UNDRIP. So DRIPA locks UNDRIP as basically the lens that the courts make these decisions. That's how the land title claim was won in Richmond, and if it is not repealed, if DRIPA and UNDRIP are not repealed, you can expect this across BC. That's why you're seeing this happening in Kamloops. This is what happens when you vote NDP or Liberal. The next time that there's an election, think very carefully about if you want to be able to own a home, finance a home, and not lose 50% of your equity. This is a major issue. Share this video to increase awareness and never vote Liberal or NDP again.